Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I am the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. This is our 38th year, and we have some amazing films. I'm so very excited to share this with our audience. One of our favorite films is A Night Like This, which screens Monday, September the 29th at 8 p.m. at the Midtown Arts Cinema. I'm going to read a brief introduction, then we're going to talk to the director, Liam Calvert. Using London's gritty nightclub as a backdrop, Liam Calvert's debut film is about a stone broke gay actor, Lukas, and privileged bonehead Oliver with a failing business cross paths on a winter night. The two join forces in a quest around London to find a meaning to their lives. With great chemistry between the two leads, A Night Like This is a charming look at two souls, how they unexpectedly come into each other's lives. Thank you, Liam. I really appreciate talking to me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Exactly. So, when did tell me a little bit about the genesis of this? When did you decide to make this?
So it was in February or March of 2023.
Yeah.
I was just sort of reading scripts online on Coverfly platform, just sort of peer-to-peer feedback. And most of them were sort of very early career, not super strong, not very fully formed. But I read one that was really good, really strong, really engaging. So I gave some feedback. And then the writer got back to me, really grateful, asked me to read another script, which ended up being what became A Night Like This. So we got chatting more about it. I sent a whole essay worth of feedback about it on how I liked about it. We got chatting more, and then he said, Diego said he was trying to get it made, and I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to be involved, thinking like in some advisory capacity or something. Then he said, well, how about directing it? And then kind of went from there. Really, at first it didn't really seem that real. I was very up for it, but hadn't really sunk in. Then it just kept going, and then we got a producer on board, then we got cast on board, then we got crew on board, then we had some money, and then it was like, oh, I'm directing this. Okay, cool.
How long did it take to officially make this?
So from meeting Diego to shooting, it was about a year. Then we shot for 4 weeks in February 2024, and
Yeah.
then we took a few months off after filming to sort of get the resources together for post, and then post production went from about August to February this year. So just sort of 2 years from start to finish, which is felt like quite a long time, but obviously isn't always. It's quite short compared to how some features turn out.
Yeah. I was I was talking to a colleague about this, and we are talking about, London. It kind of feels like London in itself is sort of a character here.
Hmm.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely something that I wanted to do going into it because I'm not from London, but I've lived here for 2 years now, and it definitely has a different feel to it to everywhere else I've lived before. It's amazing in some ways. It's so big. It's got everything you possibly want. So many people around, but equally that can make it more lonely. Having so many people around you,
Yeah.
you sit in a busy tube with everyone around you, and if you feel lonely, you feel like, oh, they've all got people. They've all got someone to talk to, and I don't. It can really emphasize those feelings of loneliness, especially when London is cold and dark in winter. It's yeah, a bit miserable sometimes. So I wanted that to sort of play a part in it and emphasize the loneliness, but then also equally offer the connection that they can find with each other in this big city.
So talk to me a little bit about Oliver and Lucas, because these are two, young men who were quite different in a lot of ways, but they sort of strike up a bond. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Mm. So I came to the script was fairly fully formed when I came on board, and these two
Yeah.
brilliant characters didn't change too much from that point to me coming on board. But I was really like lucky to work with Diego and then work with Jack Brett Anderson and Alexander Lincoln to develop them.
Yeah.
Um, Especially Oliver's character was really engaging as well because he's obviously the louder of the two characters, the bigger personality.
Yeah.
And when I first read it, I thought, wow, this guy's a dick. But then you kind of a few 20 minutes, half an hour later, you're like, oh no, I think I actually kind of like him. I think he's a bit funny, a bit charming. So
Yeah.
that sort of layers to him. You kind of start with the opposite ways of them, where you peel back Oliver's layers and sort of get down to the nuances, the vulnerabilities that he has that he's been hiding. Whereas Lucas kind of starts with those on that lower level with showing those demons. Then you sort of reveal up and be like, oh, there's all this other stuff going on around him as well. Then they kind of meet in the middle a little bit, which I think really works for their dynamic, especially even though Lucas can seem a bit of a quieter character, a bit more subdued. He's still got a lot going on and can match Oliver in a lot of those ways, which is credit to the performances from Alex and Jack.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit how these characters change each other.
I think they're both kind of what they need on this one night. Oliver kind of brings, he kind of doesn't really let Lucas leave, say no and go home. There's three times he says, "Oh, I'm going to go home now," but and Oliver doesn't force him, but he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you can go in a bit, but maybe just after this, after we'll go and do this." And he kind of doesn't let him retreat into his shell because if they hadn't crossed paths, things might have gone very differently for Lucas.
Yeah.
Uh, but equally, I think Lucas grounds Oliver a bit. I think he doesn't want to stop. He's doesn't deal with his emotions. He just goes and goes and drinks and goes out partying and stays out all night. He doesn't take those times to actually slow down and process what's been going on for him. Maybe I think a lot of the things he says to Lucas over the course of the film, the first time he said them in a long while, if ever, maybe. And it's from having that person to challenge him a little bit and sort of pull him out and be vulnerable with him. That's what lets Oliver open up and slow down and sort of look at some of his demons in the face.
I mean, what I liked about this film, one of the main things I liked about this, I mean, it feels unexpected. It doesn't feel like it's something I've seen before. I look credit to the two actors, but it seems like for these two, it's more of a friendship that really bonds them. Would you talk about that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a romantic bond between the two. Obviously, there's
Yeah.
attraction, there's chemistry, but I think it's more than just one sort of lustful night or one romantic night. There is a much more human and personal connection to them and what's going on, and that's what really connects them together. Because if either of them had just wanted sex, they could have found that in other ways. It was the actually opening up to each other that was what really saved them and helped them on this night. And I'm not saying they were magically fixed after one night because they clearly both need therapy, but it really helps them on that journey to opening up and sort of stopping and realizing what's going on. And we kind of wanted to make a film that was well, obviously queer and especially about one gay man, one man who identifies however Oliver might identify. But the story wanted to be a bit more universal as well, whether anyone can kind of imagine having that connection with someone. And a lot of people have. A few people that have seen it have said, "Oh, I met someone one night once on the bus home, and we just got chatting, and then went our separate ways." And it could be two people of any age, any gender, any sexuality, any race. The sort of human connection of it is more significant than the sexuality side of it a little bit.
This is basically, a two character piece. There's some heavy
Mm.
lifting by both actors. I was quite familiar with Andrea Lincoln, but not Jack Brett Anderson. But just sort of talk about having those two together and working together because they do have, quite chemistry here.
Yeah, we got very lucky with finding them both because we reached out to Jack originally because we were doing quite targeted casting. We reached out to Jack and he really liked the script and came on board. Then we were looking for someone to play Oliver because that is obviously a bigger role,
Mhm.
and we'd kind of thrown Alex's name around as a like, oh, we'd love to get him, but probably won't. But then he had the same agent as Jack, so we managed to get the script to him and then he loved it and they both came on board and then they both read for it individually. Then we brought them together and we were a bit nervous just because as you said it's basically a two-hander. This film needs the chemistry to work. If those two didn't get along it wouldn't you wouldn't buy into the whole 2 hours. So thankfully they met and they'd never met before but it was like they'd known each other 10 years. They just got on so well. They had chemistry in spades. Even when on the first day of shooting, and the characters didn't know each other, we had to work a little bit to bring that back down after all the rehearsing and sort of and practice we'd done over the months before shooting. But yeah, they just really clicked together and they look really good together. They act really well together. They both bring out good sides in each other in the performance, so it just worked really well. We captured some magic on screen there.
Yeah. Um, so where are you right now with your festival run, and where will people eventually be able to see the film down the line?
So our international festival run is still going. We've got a few more US festivals coming up and a few more in the rest of the world, not publicly announced yet, but we'll share them soon. But then we're having our cinema release in the UK on Friday 26th. So it will be out by the time this plays, which is very, very cool to have that coming out. I went to a cinema earlier with my boyfriend and saw the poster up in the wall in the lobby, which was fantastic. So that's doing very well. Then we've got some distributors lined up. I'm not sure if it's out publicly yet, but there will be. We're looking at certain territories in the US is one of them that we've, got some things lined up for. So hopefully it will be out for a much wider audience very soon.
That's great. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
my final question. Why is it important to tell stories like this, queer themed stories, especially at a time where there's so much uncertainty in our community right now? I mean, here in the United States, but obviously other parts of the world, why is it so important to get these stories out?
I think it's really important, like you said, maybe now more than ever. Now there's so much strife and things, just to have this breadth of representation. No one film or one text or anything can stand up as a pinnacle of this is what it's like to be queer, this is what it's like to be gay, this is what it's like to be trans or anything. You need kind of as many films, TV shows, books, podcasts as possible to show the breadth of the experience and just to humanize people and to not to stop this and fight against this sort of othering that's going on of like the woke agenda, all this stuff. It's like, no, we're just people. We have our issues and struggles and demons and successes like everyone else. Just putting it on screen and especially making it as wide as possible and kind of as unique as possible as well can show that it's an actual person's story and make people want to connect with each other rather than just putting up walls, to reach out to the person next to you and be like, hi, how are you? Actually connect with other humans rather than just be shut off and turned against people and just leaning into hate when we don't need hate, we need more love and acceptance and kindness.
Exactly. I'm looking forward to seeing this with an audience. I've seen it at home on my little TV. I'm looking forward to seeing this with an audience and hearing how people react and discovering things that might not have picked up on the first time I saw it at home. So anyway, congratulations on this. It's been great talking to you. A night like this screens at Out on Film on Monday, September the 29th at 8 p.m. at the Midtown Arts Cinema. It is available for audience awards. So anyway, Liam, it's been wonderful talking to you. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today, and thanks for sharing your film with it. I cannot wait for everybody to see it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having it and for accepting it and screening it for your audience. I can't wait to hear what people think of it.
Will do. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.